are two cards I really want to focus on for this new moon. This is the High Priestess and Justice card. So here we have the number 2, and then we have the, excuse me, number 11. And here, these are very interesting, and I want to talk about these more in depth so we can understand what they are. Now, we see the High Priestess. She's sitting there. She's on a cement or a stone seat. She has the pillars around her, which is black and white. And behind her, there is a blanket or a sheet, whatever, that has pomegranates on it. And that represents the feminine, Persephone to be exact. But you see, that is hiding what is going on behind. Now, you see how her robe kind of flows out? This is like the consciousness mind. This is like the all mind. And this moon right here, this moon reminds us is that, not only is it connected to water, but it is reminding us too that there are things that are unseen. Now, you'll see that she's holding in her hand, which looks like, many people say it's the Torah, but this is the T-A-R-O, Tarot. And this is referred to as secret knowledge. And if we look at our past and we can see the oppression of consciousness, and we can see how we have been severed from the connection of the divine, we're seeing how we're not really. The High Priestess appears to be passive, and to a point she is, but remember, there's always the shadow. And being too passive can cause self-determinant, which can cause depression. Now, the High Priestess is associated with the moon, and if you think about the moon, remember it has, the dark side of the moon. There's a side of the moon that we do not ever see, not with our naked eyes. The High Priestess also represents the divine feminine. And while everyone likes to see the divine feminine as all-encompassing and loving and joyful, we have to understand that there is a destructive side as well to that. Now, behind the veil is the cosmic sea, and this is the cosmic sea of the mind. You see the cross right here on her chest. This represents as above, so below. It's an equal cross, so it's balance, and it represents the 4 elements. So this goes very, very deep into an understanding, because then we have the two, the J and B. Those are the pillars of Solomon's temple. So, and all of this, the lotus bloom, the pomegranates, all of that behind her, that represents the blooming of the feminine subconscious force. So this is the physical and the spiritual laws of the universe that are written on that scroll. It is a record of all things, of all the mysteries, and this image contains symbols for all Hermetic symbols, the principles that govern the creation of the universe. So this is about a constant flow of polar energies flowing in our lives that serve a purpose. And this universal mind, this is that cosmic sea. And it is linked to the Magician card. And that's what makes him possible. So, now the esoteric name of the High Priestess is the Priestess of the Silver Star. And she represents the intuitive, the insights, those things that bring solutions. She is, she's the influence of the feminine, and she represents that there's hidden works there's hidden forces at work here. Now, I want you to see the comparison here, because this is very, very important. Both of these cards, you'll see that they are both sitting in between two pillars while there is a veil from what is behind them. They are the middle of that. They represent that balance. So the goddesses that are the feminine goddesses, the feminine, divine feminine that are linked to this card would be Hecate, Artemis, all the moon goddesses, all of them. But when we look deeper at the high priestess here, we learn so much because first off, this card is associated with Cancer, which represents the fourth house, which represents our four elements. Okay, and she is, Cancer is about our home. It's about the mother. It's caring, it's nurturing, but it also can be moody and irritable and just grasping at things, wanting attention, grasping. So we have to be, remember, a balance, right? This card is about, the Cancer is about intuition and the independence, and it represents, and this card in particular, this represents a gateway of knowledge, hidden mysteries. But we have to really be careful because this card warns us that we can create our own obstacles, right? Remember, this is a polarity. There is one side as well as the other. There is a side that you don't readily see. And this moon, it's almost like a cup, and it can, it looks like her gown is flowing over, but this is the waters. You see how that's a waterfall? Yeah, so it's really good to understand these cards when you're reading them, and especially when you connect them to what is going on in astrology, you can see it more. So the benefits of this card can tell us that, there is things that are hidden from us, things that we're not seeing, what's going on in the background that we don't have our physical eyes upon. So it's time for some self-reflection. There's awareness that needs to be made. So we need to bring that awareness to the subconscious and to connect to the collective subconscious and feel what's going on. And also, finding the duality of life as well. And we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. And it's just like, this is just like the yin and yang sign. As this is white and it contains black, this is black and it contains white, which means that in the masculine, there is a presence of the feminine. In the feminine, there is a presence of the masculine. So let's move on to the Justice card, because I have a couple more cards that I want to talk about. And like I said, this would connect us to this card in particular connects us to the Magician, which tells us that we are the creators of our own life. Okay, we're going to put that one up there. So let's talk about the Justice card. So let's talk about the Justice card. When we get to the Justice card in the major arcana, we are at a place to directly experience alchemy at work within our soul through the understandings of the universal laws. Now, Justice is in the center position, and of all the cards, of the major arcana cards, Justice sits in the center of that. And this is a pivot. This is the mediator. This card is constantly weighing and deciding what is aligned with the highest good. Now, Justice is the guardian. You see, this is a gate. Both of these are gates, and they represent stuff that's hidden from beyond. But for here, equilibrium is the basis of the great work in this, because when you are reading the major arcana, that is the great work, right? When the Fool begins, that's the journey that they call it, the journey of the Fool, the Fool's journey, and so forth. So justice tell us that we need to grow up and take responsibility for the self, for our life. This is cause and effect. She holds her sword upright as she is ready to, this is a double-edged sword. So she is ready to render her judgment when and if it is needed. Now, being a cause doesn't mean that our physical actions, that doesn't just mean our physical actions. Here, this could also mean that there is a string of events that have happened, like our past mistakes that we made, or the past, I won't even say mistakes, let's say decisions and choices. Your past choices have brought you to where you are today. And this is like a series of events, things that could have happened that made you make this decision, that decision, so forth. And maybe they were made out of fear, maybe they were not. So it is based on our activities that are emotional, that are on the emotional and spiritual planes. Here we are always advised to use discernment, use great discernment, and ask us: Are we treating others like fairly? If one goes, if this whole situation is over here and this is the punishment for that, well, then if they're doing this, then the punishment must be rendered as well. How is one better than the other if they're both doing the same thing? So this is talking about being fair, and also being treated fairly. When our biggest task is to understand how the universal laws work, and how to become aligned with those laws. So, discernment. Now, 11 is a master number, and it's a very mystical number. One is a double in energy, and ones are all about the self. And one represents, again, the magician that says you are the co-creator of your life. This right here, as above, so above. This represents the flow of energy of life, this never ending. He's gathering his energy from above, from the ground. He has all of his tools and before him. He's in a lush garden, which represents abundance. So he is working with purity and action. As above, so below, as within, so without. So if we're having a lot of drama in our outside world, well, we need to look inside. We need to seek the, let me expand this just a little bit so we can see it all. There we go. There we go. So we hold that. We hold that. Now, this is, one is the 11 is the first of the duality, okay? And it's one doubled, and it's reflecting itself. So this is self-consciousness. So this is like saying when we want justice, when we want to make sure that whoever wronged us has justice. Well, this is saying that it is going to weigh out to see if that justice is needed or not. Because you have to understand, When justice is rendered, it is rendered across the table. And you have to make sure that you are in that right in order to have that justice. That's a double-edged sword, so it swings both ways. It can cut away or it can consecrate. And what is false will be separated from the truth. So when we, this and justice acts as the pendulum in the middle. It sees the middle. Here we go again. The middle, a balance, a harmony. Now, the robe is red, and it's kind of like this green yellowish color, and that is action. And also it represents Venus, the green on here, because it represents the earth. This is associated with the Emperor card because the red symbolizes that action. But the green in there, it connects us to the Empress card. Here. Okay. Which is Venus, which is the goddess of nature and beauty. And there is her signs here. And she's pregnant with life. Okay. So let's put these like this. How about that? Now we can see them all. So we're dealing with a lot of different energy here for this this new moon, and I feel so much to talk to you about this because of the sequence of events that are happening, of all of these different the shifts that are happening. We had Mars go direct last week. We had Mercury go direct this week. We are having a new moon. We are having first we had the sun moving into Aquarius. First, before he did that, he met up with Pluto, the Lord of the Underworld. Then he goes straight into Aquarius. And then we have the Chinese New Year. And this is really big because this is about, it's about new beginnings. And it's telling us to work together in harmony. In harmony. And what is justice? What is justice? Yellow on these cards, they represent the air element, and that's thinking capacity. Okay. The extended foot here, that would represent ready to act. Her foot is out. She's ready to step forward with her sword of justice there. And again, this is a gate. Where does this gate go to? She's the guardian of the gate. So you must be weighed. It reminds me of, this is the Justice card is associated with the Egyptian goddess Ma'at. And Ma'at is the goddess of truth and order. Her symbol is the white feather. And it represents purity and righteousness. And in the Egyptian story of the dead, Ma'at sat on the scales. And once a soul transitioned into the afterlife, it had to pass trials in the underworld, which is like a life review where one can release attachments or regrets from the physical life that we had. And here we are, now we're at the end, and you get to the Hall of Judgment where the person will be placed in, the persons will be placed on the scales with the white feather of Ma'at. So that is when the deeds will be weighed of the person, and Thoth, the Lord of Wisdom, will take the one accused and measure and balance that. So here, it is the heart that is weighed. So once the heart weighs as light as a feather, they'll be able to pass into, they begin to walk through that gate. So here, it is saying, are you worthy enough to step through that gate? And that's not being self-righteous. That is having responsibility. It's like you don't give a 2-year-old a firearm to play with. This is the same thing for anything in this world. You have to be very, very careful about things that you do. You have to have that self responsibility. Use discernment. Is this the right thing to do? It seems like that is like a cliche nowadays about using common sense, but we have to. This is what we need to do. This daughter of the Lords of Truth is her name, and or the ruler of balance. And this represents Libra. It's air. It's an air sign. It's very active. And Libra is refined balance and truth. It rules the seventh house, and that is the house of partnerships, close relationships, and as well as open enemies. Okay. Now, this card can be fair, but it can also be judgmental in many ways, and we have to balance that. This is it's ruled by Venus, the Empress card. Okay, so she's ruled by let me see here. There we go. Can we see that good? Am I going to blow that up? Yeah, there we go. Let me put her down here. There we go. That's better. So here, Libra's personality is I balance, I adjust, I agree, I harmonize. So we're working specifically with strength, which is integrity and objectivity and being responsible. So that is the true strength of justice, integrity. This being about relationships, okay? This is connecting us to Venus, and it's also advising us that in all of our relationships and all of our partnerships, we must respect the balance and the fairness in between it. This is about coming to a greater state of peace and grace. And it's about adjusting things, a karmic adjustment. So this is a lot of energy that's going on in this this moon. Being justice, the one that brings balance into the placement, that's not always a fun thing to do. And as we see, it can take us, we don't want our children, we want to protect our children. We don't want our children to be mad at us, but then again, we have to be the parents. We have to be the one that stands up and makes sure that everything is fair, everything is going good, everything is on the up and up. But for us in general, for this moon, this is plainly telling us that there's things that are not being seen, and that we must use discernment, and we must really weigh our integrity, our morals. We have to do this. This is about being self-responsible. When we talk about self-responsibility, we're not talking about, whatever. No, it is understanding that you and you alone, through one choice or through an event of choices and decisions, you have come to this situation. And it is up to you to fix it. It is up to you to make sure that things are balanced, that things are set right. Again, I want you to remember that when justice is served across the table. So another card that I want us to look at is the number 21 card of the tarot, and it is the World. Now, the World is nirvana unfolding. That is, this is the end of the hero's journey of self-discovery. That is what the major arcana is about. It's the hero's journey of discovery and transformation. We have used the keys to awaken our multidimensional selves. And we have gained greater awareness of the 22 archetypes of our true self. This is the final self. This is when we learn to merge, um, and then take that leap of evolution. So this is the mystery of the dance of life. And this is, the human is awakened. They're awakened here. And this is newness. The newness is the blonde, and the blonde hair represents that new, that it's like a young, so to speak. Now, our journey has taken us through all the stages of the alchemical process at this point, and now we return to the top of the wheel, and we're supposed to be transformed. We have a complete change in our consciousness and even our character, because this is the fool that has matured. And when we do mature, we evolve. We evolve into higher thinking individuals. This is a point to we're no longer living in our ego. And that has been misrepresented. Our ego is a good thing. It is. But our ego is not who we are. And we have to learn how to work with our ego in the ways that are very respectful and not overwork it. I see a lot of people who just know everything, and there's nothing else for them to learn because that's just it. They know everything, and this is how it is. Well, that's pretty sad, because when you have got to that place to where you think you know everything, that is a place of stagnation. And that is when you're not growing and you're not evolving. But that's what we're supposed to do. We have the man, we have the eagle, we have the lion, and we have the bull. So this is a complete change, like I said, in our consciousness and our character. Here we understand that we are the whole universe. The whole universe is within us. And we encompass it all. So we're dancing here. We're dancing in the center of this, of the cosmos. We are fully aware that we are one, not with just the planet that we live on and the plants. We are one with our universe as well, all the cosmos. This is where, getting to this place, this helps us with the manifestation, because we are seeing how the forces of creation flow, and they flow through us to make for us to manifest. This is, this could also be like the spiral dance of creation. And it's now we can enjoy the world. We have transcended. And while we are still in our physical body, we can enjoy the world, because that's what we came here to do. We came here to have a human experience. So the world is about self-knowledge and complete integration of the self. So this is where we know who we are, and we know that we are not who we were when we began. We really understand the work that needs to be done now. So a new cycle begins. And that cycle is one of fulfilling our purpose. So now when we look at 21 reverse, which is 12, which is the hangman. Now the hangman said that we needed to, he was hanging from the world tree, and he was limited, okay? But the world is liberated through this. As above, so below principle here. So this is the final result of actions that are taken in the 12 and the number 12 card, because that's the mirror. And I did not pull the hangman out. The hangman. Let me pull him out. So the hangman, we all heard the story of Odin, and we understand that he hung there for 9 days and 9 nights to get the knowledge of the runes. And when we get to this card, so these numbers, they mirror each other. So when we get to this card, we can see how we had to change the way that we saw things. When we're here, this is about, you need to look at things from a different perspective. He's upside down. Things that you were taught maybe are not real. Things that you were brought up thinking, you may have realized that it's not so. Now here, she is circled by a big 0, and that is about the self-conscious and subconscious being united. And you see how they're tied together here. So, yeah, this is, the Empress, that is the world, the outer expression. This is the outer expression of the Empress. This is the creation. So, yeah, this is a very powerful moon, and it's really one that's really calling to us to attune more to the fluid movements of our world. We have to learn how to transcend the illusion, the dark side that we are not seeing. We have to learn how to use discernment. We can't just take what is on the surface of things. We can't take that for what it is. There's more there. We can't be consumed so much with the cover of the book that we fail to see the knowledge that is within it. This is the being here is supposed to be the Hermaphroditus, which is the offspring of Hermes and Aphrodite. So that would be the Magician card and the High Priestess card. So this is our conscious and our subconscious uniting. And this is a merging of powers together. So that is your masculine and your feminine powers merging together. And this is the point where all sense of separation is gone and we are one. But we also have to understand that we are still in that physical body. We still have to walk the path that we're walking. And even though we are starting to see things from a different perspective, we still need to use discernment. We still need to understand not to look outside of ourselves. Stop asking others for what's good for you. You know what's good for you. Listen to your body. So this is the lineup of our tarot that is playing out in our cosmos right now with our new moon. This is why I really wanted to bring these cards out so that we can look at them and we can see this is major energy that's happening. This is a turn. This is telling us that there are things that are going on that we need to make sure. We need to make sure that we are in alignment with our highest, truest outcome, our potential, our true potential. This is the journey of the soul. This is the journey of the fool, so to speak, and your journey of life and unfolding. So I hope that explains a little bit of the tarot. So I will get back to the astrology. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that explanation with me using the tarot. I really like to do that because it really does help us on this journey, and it helps us with this the hero's journey of life as we are taking this path and exploring who we are and all of our essence. I just want to remind you that you were a powerful co-creator, and you can create what you want. You just have to learn how to use the tools you have. And unfortunately, through the past years, many years, over 2,000, those abilities have been stripped from us. So we are slowly learning to take these back on, and we're allowing them to bloom inside of us. Those echoes of our ancestors' ways, those echoes of the songs, of the myths, all of that is running in our blood. It's in our bones. It's in our DNA. And it's time to awaken that. And it's time to really appreciate our ancestors. And the biggest thing is, with all of this, is you just have to know what you want to create. That's it. You have to know what you want to create. It's all you, baby. It's all you. So that is it for the Astro Update. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you back later. Next time for another update. I will be talking about the Kaliakan this time of year. And I want to go into a little bit about that and about sitting with death. So hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Blessings.